Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be going over my top 18 favorite WCA events. So I hear a lot of you saying, wait, but there are only 18 WCA events, and you're very right. But I decided that I was just going to rank all 18 WCA events from my favorite to my least favorite, and I'm going to be splitting it up into two videos. So in this video I'm going to be going over my 8 least favorites, or basically numbers 11 through 18, and then in the next video I'm going to be going over my top 10 favorites. So I have actually done this once before, and I only did my top 10 favorite WCA events that time. I'll link that video in the description below, but just be aware that those events have changed over time, and this list is very different from that one. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get on to my 18th favorite WCA event. I don't think this will come as a surprise to anyone who's been watching my channel for a while, but my least favorite WCA event is Clock. Now, I'm not a fan of this event for many reasons, so I'll just list a few here. From my experience, it's nearly impossible to hold it at a competition without having to give out a lot of extra scrambles because of running, judging, or scrambling errors, and it also seems like a majority of clocks aren't competition legal for one reason or another, and even if you can find a legal one, it's probably really bad. Unless you have a good clock, it can hurt your fingers to practice for a long time, which is the case for me, and in my opinion, it really doesn't fit in at all with the other events because it's hardly a twisty puzzle. Also, I don't really think Clock is fun to watch, unlike most other events, mainly because you can't even tell if it's solved from really far away. And finally, I think it never would have become an event in the first place if it weren't made by Rubik's, which really doesn't seem like much of a valid reason to add an event to me. But one way or another, Clock is here to stay, so I've just had to learn to put up with it. Next, we have my second least favorite event. I have a feeling some of you are going to be surprised about this one, mainly because I ranked it so highly on my last top 10 events video. And this event is Square One. So, what changed in the last 2 years that made Square One drop 13 places? Honestly, not much, and that's exactly why it dropped. The last time I made a top 10 WCA events video, I averaged around 19 on Square One, and today I still do. Don't get me wrong, that's definitely my fault for not practicing, but the truth is that I'm just not motivated to get any faster. I've gotten lucky enough to have an official 11-second single and 14-second average, both of which are about 5 seconds faster than they should be, so I'm not in dire need of improving my official results. Besides that, Square One is an extremely alg-heavy event, and I'm honestly not much of an alg learner. I prefer the more intuitive, less algorithm-based puzzles. I won't lie, there are some days when I wish I had stuck with Square One. There was a time a couple years ago when DerpyCuber, #Cuber, and I were all averaging around 19 seconds, and while they're both top 10 in the world now and average sub 10, I'm still stuck at 19. But to be honest, I just couldn't be bothered to get much faster. Now, moving on to my third least favorite event. Actually, let's be optimistic and call this my 16th favorite event, because honestly it hurts that I had to put this low on the list. And that event is 7x7. I actually enjoy 7x7 a decent amount, and the only reason it's low on this list is because I really don't practice it that much. And the reason I don't practice it that much is because it's just a long event, and usually I'd rather do something quicker. The truth though is that I do enjoy the rare 7x7 solves I do, but I just don't seem to do them enough to warrant putting this event any higher on my list. Next, in 15th place, we have 6x6. This is another event that I've just never put that much time into. I enjoy solving it on occasion, but between the poor hardware and the fact that it takes a decent amount of time to get a solve done, I've just never really gotten into this event. It's definitely got its pros, but personally, there are 14 other events I prefer. At number 14, we have kind of a funny event. I really wanted this one to be lower on the list because I've always kind of disliked it, but when I was making this list, I realized that I actually do practice this event a decent amount, and I don't hate it as much as I say I do. And that event is 3x3 one-handed. It's my worst event by far, and it's been pulling my sum of ranks down for a really long time, even though my official solves are better than what I average at home. The only reason I'm ever inspired to practice this event is just to improve my sum of ranks, but I do actually really enjoy the practice I do. I've always been frustrated by having difficulty turning with one hand, and although I don't think I'll ever be able to have as high TPS as a lot of OH solvers I see, I do plan to keep practicing and improving, little by little. At number 13, we have another event that went down quite a few places since the last list. Coming in as my 13th favorite WCA event, we have Megamix. I used to really like this event, and I practiced it a lot for a period of time, but like Square One, I really can't be bothered to practice it much anymore. About a year and a half ago, I averaged a minute 7 on Megamix, and now I'd consider myself in the mid-110s. It's a fun event, don't get me wrong, but you really need to be in the mood for it, which most of the time I'm not. It requires a lot of look ahead and focus, which doesn't mix well with the more casual type of solving I generally find myself doing. Also, and I know this is a dumb reason to dislike an event, but the scrambles are annoying and take more time than I would like. Sometimes I can get really into this event, but for the most part I find myself practicing the later events on this list. Alright, next, this was a tough one to rank, mainly because I've only done it successfully once. Eventually, I settled on 12th place for this event, which is 5x5 Blindfolded. Although this is technically my least favorite Blindfolded event on this list, that's not to say I don't enjoy it. I like to look at it as a 3 or 4 cube multi-blind attempt, except you have to get a 100% success rate. Memorizing just a single letter wrong or doing a single wrong move somewhere in the middle of the solve will result in a DNF, making this one of the most unforgiving WCA events. As more of a casual blind solver, I really do enjoy this aspect of the event. On my one successful 5 blind solve, I was turning so slowly during the execution phase to be 100% sure I wouldn't mess up any moves. When I do this event, I really feel like the pressure is on, making it one of the most exhilarating and exhausting events for sure. I really feel bad that I had to put 5x5 Blindfolded this low on the list, but there are 11 other events I prefer. And moving on to 11th place, the final event in this video, we have a pretty standard event, Scube. Scube has become a bit of a joke to me over the last year. It's just one of those events that's always there, but I never seriously practice it. It's fun to do it officially, especially with the knowledge that any lucky scramble could result in a really good time, but as far as practicing at home goes, it's just kind of monotonous. Scube is fun because it's quick, and that's about all there is to it. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this video of my 8 least favorite WCA events, or places 11 through 18 on my list, so make sure to stay on the lookout for the top 10 WCA events video, which I'll be posting sometime in the coming week. And if you are watching this video a while after it's been released, make sure to click the link in the description or the card on screen right now, and it'll take you right to the top 10 WCA events video. But yeah, that's about it for this one. Hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. I really feel bad that I had to put 5x5 Blindfolded this low on the list, but there are 11 other prevents that I prefer. Prevents.